Hey guys, we are in the basement, and today guys, on this episode of John's Arcade, and yeah, it's still a mess down here. Look at this. I can't put those games back until Paperboy's done. Anyway, what are we doing today? Actually, before we start though, let me share something with you. Now, the last video, and actually if you're familiar with the channel and the long ongoing Mortal Kombat saga, so I restored this game, I fixed the monitor. It actually took me about a year to fix the monitor. It was like one of the worst things I ever went through was the Polo monitor in this thing. So anyway, I finished the restore, I get it down here, I'm enjoying Mortal Kombat. Then like 2 months later, the monitor dies. And I'm like, are you kidding me? And honestly, I was just exhausted by the topic. So Jay and I were sending some monitor chassis out for repair, and I threw the Polo in with it. And it came back last week, and then in the last video, we put it in, and it was like sizzling, you know, it was making like some kind of arcing sounds. And then we pulled the chassis out and saw there was a crack where the flyback was. So anyway, I sent it back to those guys. They fixed it. They basically added some jumper wires where the crack was. And here it is, it's working. And it looks awesome. I know I should have probably filmed it or at least taken photos of the chassis. But honestly, they just added some jumper wires where the crack is. But it looks so good. So really, that is a great looking monitor. So hopefully, I don't have to ever think about that monitor ever again. All right, so what are we doing today? So also in the last video, we had Paperboy down, and we tried, actually we kind of investigated what was wrong with it last week, and we found, I guess it wasn't last week, it was the last video, but we found in the last video that we were basically missing 5 volts at the lower board, so the power supply, the AR3 power supply was bad, okay? So we tested the voltage without a load and it was working, and then when we put a load on it, the board, the voltage went basically to 0. So in this video, we're gonna go to the garage. Actually, I already put the AR3 power supply out there. So we're gonna go to the garage and we're gonna rebuild the power supply. We're gonna try replacing the transistors and all that stuff, and hopefully by the end of the video, Paperboy is working again. So anyway, enough of that, guys. Let's just go to the garage and get to work on the Atari AR3 power supply for the Paperboy. All right, guys, we are back in the garage, and yes, it feels great to be back out here. It does. So anyways, over here is the AR3. We'll get to that in a second. But first, let's kind of review what's going on out here. So yes, we still have the Gottlieb Bronco EM pinball machine. Yes, it still doesn't work, and it needs a lot of TLC, so hopefully we'll get to that soon in some upcoming videos. And then over here is our Konami Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle 4-player arcade game. Now yesterday I came out here and kind of put the thing back together because the PCB I had removed, I don't know why it was in the basement, but I put the PCB back in, I put a K7000 chassis in there, and then I turned it on and it wasn't good. And I'll show you what's happening. But first, let's kind of check it out. So here's our board. This is an original board, but it has the 2-player ROMs in it, because I used to put this in my Street Fighter, so we're going to have to burn a new set of ROMs. You can see down there it says TMNT 2-player Oceania ROM, so that's the ROM version. So we're going to burn 4 new ROMs and convert it to a 4-player board, because we have a 4-player cabinet. And then also over here is our K7000, okay? So anyway, I put this all together yesterday, I turned it on, and what happened wasn't good. So watch what happens here. Yeah. So the flyback is arcing, it's cracked or something, so we're going to replace the flyback in an upcoming video, and then after that it should work. Actually, yesterday the flyback wasn't arcing as bad, it was doing it like every 30 seconds, so I got the game to come up and I had a picture, it looked great, but every 30 seconds it would arc and the picture would jump, and now it's like arcing non-stop. So we'll replace that in an upcoming video, change out the ROMs, and then we should have a playable game. But I do think we need to kind of rewire the control panel, because this was converted to high impact football, and I think the pinout for the control panel is totally different than the Konami. So anyway, let's go over here and let's get to work on the AR3. So in the last video, we tested the voltage on this, and we did not have 5 volts when it was under load, okay? And a lot of you guys commented and said to look at these power transistors, including Andrew B. So we're gonna look at those first and test them. And then also I wanna replace the audio amps right here, because my game only had sound coming out of one of the speakers, left or right, I don't remember which one. And each of these audio amps handles one of the channels. either left or right, but we're going to replace both of them. So I have new transistors, audio amps for this, and I also have new power transistors for here. And then I did print out the pinout for these transistors. These are 2N3055, so we can test them. And you can see here the legs 1, 2, and then the body. And if you look at a little schematic here, so leg number 1 here is the base. Leg number 2 is the emitter, and then the collector, it says tab. So the body's the collector, and we're gonna go through and test it. I actually printed out like a little cheat sheet that we'll kind of go through how to test transistors. So anyway, let me get this set up here. I gotta get some power over here, and let me heat up the soldering iron and all that. I'll be right back. All right, guys, while the soldering iron's heating up, I want to check on my pulled pork here. It's been on the smoker for about 4 hours now, and I'm trying to get it to about 165, 170, and then I'm going to wrap it in foil and finish it off till it goes to about 195. So right now, it's at 165, so we're about ready to wrap it in foil here. So let's take a look here. I'm going to spray it down, too, with some apple cider vinegar and apple cider. But look at it right there. So I just kind of rubbed it with salt and pepper, paprika, onion powder, garlic powder, and a little bit of chili powder, and we're just kind of trying to keep it wet here with this spray. I'm gonna probably let it go for maybe another 20 minutes and come back out and wrap it. So anyway, let's go back to the garage and get back to work on the AR3. All right, so let's get these guys off here. So you'll notice there's some nuts on this side here, and then on the other side there's some screws, and there's some like insulating foam here. So let's see if we can break these screws. Okay, there's one. So these things are not held on. The soldering joint is what ultimately is holding it on. These just kind of like secure it a little bit more. You can't just pop them off when you remove the screws. You have to desolder. Okay, so that's all the screws are off. Let me get, I have a little magnetic bowl. The viewer sent me a bunch of fun stuff, and this is one of the items. So let's grab a magnetic bowl. So thank you. All right, so we won't lose those. Okay, so we have to desolder these, and so why don't we add some new solder just so this all flows real nice when we desolder. And I'm just heating up the old solder and adding new solder. Now I want to pay attention to the way these things are mounted. Because if you look at the transistor, there is actually a right way and a wrong way to install these. So these two legs are favoring this side. They're not perfectly in the center. So we got to make sure that when we remove them, that we put them in the exact same way. So you could see, like, the center line's through here, and the legs are above the center, and that's kind of how you know the orientation. And so we just kind of have to really pay attention when we remove them. But I could see that the legs right now are centering up, right? So if these two holes here are the holes on the transistor, they're up this way, so that means they're going to go in like this. All right, so let's take our Hacko and desolder this. see what happens. Let's see if it'll pop off. Probably have to heat it up while we're trying to remove it. There's like a little bit of solder on the edges. There it goes. Okay, it's off. All right, so these have like a little insulating pad on them that we're going to reuse, and this type of pad does not require the little white insulating silicone heatsink compound. Doesn't require that. If it was like the clear plastic mica, then we'd want to use this, so we don't need to use it with these, and I am going to reuse these. I don't see any reason why not to. I don't actually think I have any. All right, so one's off. So let's put it, actually we're going to test this in a minute. So let's get the other one off. I'm just kind of heating it up because there's like a little bit of solder that the sucker didn't get. Well, it's really on there. It's coming. There it goes. All right, it's off. Try to do this carefully so I don't ruin the insulator. All right. All right, so there's the two old transistors. Let's test them. So I have my little cheat sheet here that tells us how to test them. And I got this from the Vetco website. I've used their instructions forever, and I kind of wrote them out real quick. So we kind of use this as a guide. So right here it says we test the base to the emitter, and if it's an NPN transistor, it should read 0.45 volts to 0.9 volts, okay? And this is an NPN transistor because we got the pin out here. And this is an NPN, the 2N3055, okay? And then here's our pin out, base, collector, emitter. And actually, why don't we draw that? Just so we can keep everything straight. Okay, so the body is the collector. Okay, and then if we go like this, this is pin 2, this is pin 1. And then pin 1 is the base, and then pin 2 is the emitter. Okay, so we can keep this straight. And then let's put our multimeter on diode test. Okay. All right, so we're gonna go, so put positive on base and negative on emitter, okay? And we should get 0.45 to 0.95. And we get 0.5, so that's good, okay? So now we're gonna go positive on base and then negative on collector, and we should get 0.45. And we do, okay? So far, this is testing good, which is not good. I want these things to be bad. All right, so emitter to base, okay? So we put our positive on the emitter, and then our negative on the base, and we should get over limit. And we do. All right, and then positive on collector, and negative on base, and we should get over limit. And we do. Positive on collector, negative on base, and we should get over limit, and we do. Okay, and then collector to emitter should be over limit. So positive on collector, negative on emitter. And we do get that. And then positive on emitter. And okay, so this one tests good. So this one better be bad. All right, so let's test this one. Positive on base, negative on emitter. All right, that's good, 0.45 to 0.9, and then positive on base, negative on collector, we should get 0.45, and we do. Let's see, emitter to base, positive on emitter, and we should get out of range, and we do. Collector to base, NPN should be out of range. So let's go collector to base. And it is. Collector to emitter should be out of range. Collector to emitter, it is. And then emitter to collector should be out of range, and it is. Well, both of those test good. Ugh, that's not good. You know, I do have the full rebuild kit for this thing. We could shotgun it. Unless those are still bad somehow, they're out of spec, they're whatever. So why don't we replace them? I'm just wondering if we want to test the game after we replace these, or do we just shotgun the whole thing? All right, so let's get our insulators here. Oh, these are the old ones. Let's get our new ones. Okay. All right. Okay, so if we look in here, we got to make sure that the legs don't touch the heatsink at all, and they go right through the board. And you can see again that these holes here are favoring up. So we got to put them in the same way. We got to make sure the legs are really straight. Okay. Come on, get in there. This one hole here looks like I can clean it a little bit more. Put a little bit of flux on here. It's going to help our cause if we really clear it out. I don't think this thing's sucking here. Yeah, it's clogged up. So this little thing here removes the nozzle, and you gotta be super careful you do not touch this thing. It'll rip your flesh off. All right. Okay, it's clean. Oh yeah, this is all plugged up. There we go. Wonder if I just replaced the tip. Be careful with this thing. This thing's super hot. All right, the tip's out. Drop a new tip in. Alright, I got the tip in. So let's give it a shot here. Much better. So this one, these two are being a little stubborn. I'm gonna add a little more solder so it can really just kind of suck it up. All right, good. All right, let's try this again. There we go. So let's get our screws here. Actually, the nuts were on the top, weren't they? So we gotta make sure that, yeah, we're nice and centered, so there's no way we're touching the heatsink. So the fact that these tested good really makes me think I need a shotgun this whole thing. All right, so let's put the other one in. Wrong way. think I need to go too crazy here. Okay, so let's go ahead and solder these guys. So I'm really wondering if we should test this right now. Looks good. And if we wanted to, we could just kind of just test continuity. Okay. All right, let's look at the audio amps. So the audio amps are right here, okay? And they have 5 legs. They're going to be kind of horrible to do. So why don't we, I think we're just going to cut the legs off and then yank them out with the soldering iron. So let's unscrew them. So do these have any kind of a heat sink? No, they don't. All right, so I'm just gonna cut them off. And we'll just remove the legs one at a time. And these are TDA 2030. All right, so let's go on the other side. And we'll just kind of reflow the solder on these and see if we can get it all off. Let's see if we can pull them out individually with the soldering iron on it. Some needle nose from this side. One. Two. There's 5 per. Okay, those are out. We'll have to clean up the holes, but they're out. Two. Fun, fun, fun. Three. This one looks like it's just loose. 4. And then the last hole, I'm not sure about. Last hole I have to get from this side. Okay. They're all out. All right, so let's clean the holes. I'm gonna throw some solder in each one of these. All right. And let's see if the Hacko can clean these up. No problemo. All right, so let's get our new parts. So these have 5 legs, and we got to just bend these in a very specific way here, so they go in. It's going to be a nightmare to line up. So we need 3. Like that, and then 2 in the back. Okay. All right. Okay, let's get the other one. So I'll bend these the same way. 3 in the front. And 2 in the back. Trying to get them to line up. Come on, get in there. Boy, this is not fun. Alright, got almost all of them in. This one right here needs to come over. Okay, it's in. All right, let's solder her down. I'm not positive, but I think I lifted the pads on the back here. These 2 spots in the middle, there's no traces on this side. The traces are on the other side, so it doesn't really matter. But I think I did. But the solder should flow to the other side to that trace. Yeah, see, it's... I'm going to have to solder those 2 on the other side, I think. Alright, so let's take a look at these 2 here. So it's... oh yeah, that's going to be a pain. So I think it's these 2 right here. This one. And then the one in the back. Alright, we gotta do a continuity test on that to make sure we really got that right. So the 2 suspect legs are this one here. Okay, that's good. And then the one in the back goes to here. Okay, I got it. And this one goes to here. Okay. And then that one back there doesn't do anything on the top. All right, so I think these are installed correctly and we're ready to move on. That one right there looks like it needs a little solder. Alright, I think we're done. That one right there looks a little low. Alright, so the audio amps are in. And everything looks good. Okay, so what do we do now? So I do have the full rebuild kit for this, and it comes with 2 voltage regulators and a transistor, okay? So voltage, and this is from Arcade Shop, by the way. And by the way, it did come with micas for the transistors. I just reused the insulators, it's fine, the silicone pads. So it has voltage regulators, a Q3 and Q4, which is 7815 and 7915, and then a tip 32 transistor, which is in my hand right here. I think we should replace those. And it did come with micas for those too. But if it has the silicone pads, I'm going to reuse those. This is just messy with the thermal paste. Okay, so what's right here? That's the tip 32. Let's see if we can get that in one piece, because I want to test it in my transistor tester. So it's this guy right here. Just gonna add some solder to these. I kind of think we should just do the whole kit. It's still screwed in, so I gotta... Get this out in one piece. It's almost out. So I have this little like eBay special transistor tester. Let's see if we can test it in this. See if it tells us anything. The legs are all full of solder, actually. There we go. Press test. So it's showing one diode. This thing's bad, isn't it? Because look, let's compare it to the new one. Tip 32. One side of that shorted. Oh no, same thing. 4NA, 708 millivolts, 91 picofarads. Let's try it again. Oh no, see. 1, 2, 3. The 3 legs. So let's test the other one again. Unless I didn't get all 3 in. Oh no, now we get all 3. BCE 58 590 millivolts. Let's see. BCE 161 759 millivolts. It says it's a PNP. So I think it's probably testing good. PNP. We could test it with our multimeter too. Hang on. All right, so we'll use the cheat sheet again here. Put it on Diode Test. I really want to find something bad. All right, so it was a PNP, I think that thing said. So base to emitter, and it's actually labeled on here, base collector emitter. So base to emitter, we should get out of range, and we do. Okay. Base to collector, we should get out of range, and we do. Emitter to base, we should get 0.45 to 0.9, and we do. Collector to base, we should get to 0.45, and we do. And then collector to emitter, should be out of range. And then emitter to collector should be out of range. All right, well, I think that part's good. So we'll replace it nonetheless. So I'm not sure if we could test the voltage regulators the same way. So I'm going to reuse the insulator. And our hole's pretty clear. No, it's not. This one. Starting to get cold out here. I might have to stop here. Okay, let's take our plastic screw. Alright, test continuity. I'm just being cautious here. I want to make sure we do this right. Okay, and we'll do the same on the top. So on the top, only one of these interacts with the traces. Okay. Alright, so let's trim the legs. I'm just cutting above the solder. Okay. Alright, so that's done. So now let's look at these dudes. Alright, so one is a 7815 and the other is a 79. Those are the voltage regulators. So let's do this one first. And this one has a nice insulator on it. Now, I don't know if we could test these. We'll try. I don't know if they test the same as a transistor. I just don't. These are the voltage regulators. And throw a little flux on there, see if we can get them out nice and clean. Plugged up. Yeah. Just cut the legs off. Here it goes. All right, let's see what happens if we put it in this thing. Yeah, no unknown or damaged. Let's compare it to the new one. This is the 7915. 7915. Yeah, it doesn't know what the hell it is. Alright, let's see if our holes are clean. No. One of these holes is not clean. Actually, they're not really clean at all. Looks good. Okay. Let's get our insulator. Our screw. Okay. Let's solder this. So this one here, just want to make sure that this leg gets enough solder on the top. So where's that left one go? Alright, let's double check our work here. Okay. And this side just goes here. Alright, just trim the legs. Okay, so we have one left. This doesn't have an insulator on it. I'm just going to cut this off since we can't test them. I wonder if the problem is the caps. Maybe it's because we had 5 volts at the board, but as soon as we put a load on it, like maybe the caps don't have enough storage space in them, however you want to say it. Just sucked up that leg. Got it. All right, we're clear. All right, so the one we pulled off was 7815, and we're putting on a 7815. I kind of feel like I should put an insulator on here. Now, we didn't do that on the audio amps, but they never had them. Assuming that's okay. So let's take one of these, and I'm going to get some of my silicone heat sink compound, and I'm just going to put a teeny tiny amount on both sides of this. I just don't want to go crazy. I hate this stuff. It's just so messy. The screws right there. think the middle hole. Get in there. What is the hold up here? I think the middle hole has a little bit of solder in it. Tempted to just get my solder sucker, my solder pullet. Alright, let's try it now. We're making a mess here. Alright, it goes in now. Okay. All right, let's double check it. This is going slow. All right, so that's on. So we replaced all of those guys. And on this side, there's really no traces to test. Alright, so what's left in this kit are the caps. And I suppose we should just change them all. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 of them. All right, so let's see. These are all 3,300 microfarad, 35 volt. So, and with these cap kits, sometimes the voltage rating will be higher. That's okay. So there's those, and there's two more over here. All right, so let's just do these big guys first. this one and this one. Out. And the other one's over here. These are like hot glued to the board. Fun. Alright. So we gotta pay attention to polarity here. God, I feel like I haven't done a cap kit in like ages. Alright, so the polarity on this, we gotta pay attention here. All right, so the board is labeled positive, okay? And if we look at the caps, well, the one we took out, negatives on this side, it says. And on the new ones, negative is pointing down. So we just gotta make sure we put it in the right way. Okay. This is going to probably go quick. All right, so I'm going to keep going and do the rest of these, and we'll come right back. I mean, do you guys want to watch me desolder and solder on caps for the next half hour? So I'm going to do the rest of these, and then we'll come back. All right, so I desoldered all of the caps on this side and put the new ones in. I haven't soldered them yet. I'll say that C21, the one I removed, was a 22 microfarad 35 volt. The one they include in the kit is a 50 volt. Again, the voltage can be higher. Just got to make sure that the microfarad value is the same. This cap here, C28, is not part of the kit, so we're not replacing that one. So why don't we go ahead and just solder these ones in. I just bent the legs back. And I'm going to kind of try to make sure it's close to the board. Just kind of pushing the bottom of the cap up so that it's flush. Okay. Okay, and we just have this little guy down here. All right, so they're all in. So before we trim these though, I want to double check my work. So let's take a Sharpie, and I just want to make sure all the polarity is right, okay? So this cap here, positive should be on this side, negatives on that side. So that's good. Positive should be on this side, negative on that side. That one's good. This one here, positives down here, negatives on the other side. That one's good. And this one here, well, actually, I can't see, but This one I know that positive is this little indentation on the band here. So that one's cool too, because positive should be over here. And that one we didn't swap. Alright. Just kind of double checking the solder joints on the top. I think that one looks a little suspect, like I didn't use enough solder. Let me just... So this one here, just want to heat this up so the... solder flows a little better on the other side. Just gonna add a tiny bit on this side. Okay, looks better. Alright, so I'm gonna trim these. I'm cutting above the solder. Don't want to cut the solder. Alright, so I'm going to keep going and do this side and then we're done. I'll be right back. Alright, I'm back. I did mention before that C28 is not in the kit. I was totally wrong. It's there. 470 microfarad. So it's this one. So I'll replace that one too. So I'm still chugging away on this side, but just wanted to point out that I was totally wrong. It is part of the kit. So, all right, I'm gonna keep going. All right, I'm back. So I noticed something here, and I don't think it's something that I did. I don't know, but I'm short a cap. I just tore apart this whole table and looked on the floor. I can't find it. So I'm missing one of these 22 microfarads that go here. There's one here and one here. So I was going to basically test an old one and use that one to make sure it was good. So I got my ESR meter here. And so here's a brand new one. And so this one... it's 19 microfarads, 1.7 ohms. That's the ESR. And then here's an old one here. So this one tests almost the same. So I'm going to probably use this one. And then here's another old one just to compare. So these are all kind of good. They're 20 microfarad, 1.5. My only concern is that if I somehow left that one in and it's shorted or something and I wouldn't know. So I just want to make sure I have a good one that I'm leaving in. I mean, the odds are probably pretty slim. But let's test this one here. So this one's actually bad. This is a bad cap. 270 picofarads, and look at infinite resistance, no resistance. So this is a bad cap that I pulled off. And it even feels kind of like the little shrink banding that's on there. It feels like it kind of got hot, overheated. This is a bad cap. All right, so I'm gonna put one of these in and this one in, and then I'll pull that one out and we'll test it. So, all right, I'll be right back. All right, so here's the one that I was gonna just leave in, and it's at 12 microfarads and 4.5 ohms of resistance. So this was totally out of spec. So I think it was a good call to find an old one that is in spec and reuse that instead. I think this was the one I was going to use. So that one's 19, 1.5 ohms. So it's like plus or minus, I don't know what the tolerance is on this. see what this one is. This one's 20. I should use this one. 1.5 ohms, 20. And the new one is it's about the same. Actually has a little bit more ESR resistance. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and put these in, and then we'll come back. All right, I'm done. So all the caps are in. I went through each one and double checked to make sure that they're in the right way and marked them with a marker. So we've replaced every cap. We replaced transistors, audio amps. So we did a lot here. I'm a little nervous, to be honest. The one thing that I do want to pay attention to is this 5+ adjustment, because I think we cranked it in the last video. So I'm going to turn it down, way down, and then we'll adjust it when we get in the basement. So, all right, let's go downstairs and try it out. I'm honestly nervous. So, actually, let's go check on the grill really quick, and then we'll go in the basement. So, all right, guys, let's go. All right, so looking at the temperature, it's at 199, so we got to pull that pork and let it sit for about an hour. So I have wings on in here, and also potatoes. So I'm gonna pull this out, and I'm gonna let it sit in a cooler for about an hour, and then I'm gonna shred it. But let's go in the basement now and try out that power supply. This does look good. Come on, look at this. All right. All right, so let's get the power supply and let's stick this thing in here. And again, I really am kind of nervous here. I just don't know what's gonna happen. I really don't. So I just hope that it works. So where are the screws? Where did I put those? Oh, they're right here. Okay, so let me screw this in real quick. This is kind of really tight. So basically I want to put this in and we're going to check voltages. And I just hope that we have 5 volts, because that's what we need here to get us back in business. And when I removed this thing, we only had 2 of the 4 screws. So we'll put 2 kind of kitty corner to each other. All right. Okay. All right, so let's plug everything in. We got that one. We've got that one. And we've got that one. All right, so I need to get my multimeter because we need to monitor these voltages as soon as it comes up. And we're going to test them right here at this board. And then we're going to adjust the 5 volts as needed at this pot. Actually, I need to go get that small screwdriver. All right, so let's set up our meter on DC volts, 5 volts. And I'll just kind of put it there, I guess. Can you guys see that? It's kind of really bad camera work here, I know, but so 5 volts, ground. All right, so we're ready to test the voltages. I'm going to get the little screwdriver though, because I want to be able to adjust the 5 volts as needed. And geez, it's so tight back here. So yeah, let me go to the garage and get that little screwdriver. Hang on. All right, I got the screwdriver. All right, so let's see what happens. Here we go, guys. Everything's plugged in right. All right, so the DC volts down there is at 0.9. Come on. We didn't fix it. You gotta be kidding me. I quit. I'm not doing this anymore. We didn't fix it. It's not fixed. God darn it. We're gonna start. We have to test other components now. There's resistors, there's diodes. Oh my God. Well, the shotgun did not fix it, guys. Yeah. We still got problems here. 0.9 volts. All right, I gotta stop. I can't keep working on this. So in the next video, we're gonna continue this saga. I'm not giving up on this. We're gonna have to really test like everything on the board. Yeah, so the next video, oh man. Well, the next video we're gonna just go through the whole thing, I guess, because you know if I remove, because remember last time we were able to get 5 volts if I removed the load, and I was testing it at the connector here. So we had the 5 volts here. It's just that we're not getting it when it's under load. Oh man. Well, it is what it is. Listen, I really have to stop though. I gotta eat dinner here soon. So why don't we do some viewer mail and hang out? And I know, listen, you think I'm happy about this? I'm not. All right, let's do some viewer mail. Darn it. Alright guys, let's do some viewer mail. I tell you, I'm about to cry. Nothing's going as planned. So we'll revisit it. I'm not giving up on that. So alright, let's do some viewer mail. Actually, before we start, and by the way, if you guys do want to send me viewer mail, you gotta send them to john@johnsarcade.com. That's john@johnsarcade.com. Could be a question, could be a comment, could be anything. Send it to john@johnsarcade.com. Before we read the mail though, I want to talk about this. So little Servo in New York City, he sent me some of this sweet supersada, okay, from Alpine in Astoria, New York. This is the best like Italian dried salami in the world. And when I was a kid, my grandpa made something just like this. I'd go in his basement and it's all hanging from there. But anyway, I did remove the casing per Servo's recommendation, and so I thought we'd kind of sample some here. You guys want to check it out? Look, take a look here. Look at this stuff. Look at this. So let's have a little bit. So Servo, thank you for sending me this. This stuff's amazing. So let's have a little. Oh yeah. It's so good. That's right on, man. Well, you can see it's got like peppercorns in there. Oh man, that's good. Thanks, Servo. All right, let's move on. Let's do some viewer mail. Hang on. That's a good time. All right. Anyway, again, send viewer mail to john@johnsarcade.com. This one is from Alessandro. It says, "Hey John, my name is Alessandro from Connecticut. I'm planning on building my own cabinet, and I'm just contacting you for some pointers on where to look for affordable graphic designers for the sides and the marquees. I want to get them custom made of my film production company and podcast. Can you point me in the right direction? Glad to see you're alive. LOL. Be safe, Alessandro. So I probably would recommend Joe Sazbo. I know I say that wrong. It's Szabo. Like, because I know that he does a lot of his own like designs, like custom artwork designs, and then prints them. So I would reach out to him. Just search for SZABO, like artwork or arcade. SZABO arcade. And actually, he sent me a set of the Turtles artwork that we're going to be using when we get to that, assuming that's this year. but reach out to Joe Szabo. It's Szabo? SZABO. And I know he does a lot of his own artwork and prints side art and marquees and all that stuff. So I think he's totally set up for that. So... all right, the next one here is from Kevin. It says, "Hi, John. Welcome back. I'm glad to see your show is back on as I really enjoy it. Besides being a retro arcade fan, I used to repair TVs and computers back in the day, so I really enjoy the restoration videos, especially when you're working with electronics. In your last video, before you took your break, you had some harsh words for the arcade one-up cabinets. Well, I can understand that they would not appeal to people who have a bunch of original arcade cabinets. That does not mean that no one would enjoy them. So yes, I get that, okay? And yes, I'm probably not the audience. You know, I'm more into the big, giant commercial cabinets with the CRTs. You know, I like trying to fix them and restore them. But, you know, if you don't want to do the kind of stuff we did in the video today, then they're a great solution. But they're full of compromises. It's LCD displays, it's emulation, it's kind of small cardboardy cabinets. And actually, I have an arcade one-up. They sent me one for review. It's upstairs in the box still. It's the Centipede one. So we'll be talking about that soon. Anyway, going on. As someone who doesn't have a lot of space in their game room, I find them a lot of fun. And as someone who has back and leg problems, I find that they make great sit-down arcades similar to what you might come across in Japan. Here's a picture of my arcade corner in my humble game room. Actually, let me show some of the photos here. So, you know, that looks like a fun setup, without a doubt. I see that you have 60 in one. So you've been modding these things, huh? So I have 3 of them, and they are a lot of fun to mod. You'll notice that I've converted the Galaga cabinet into a JAMA system and added a 60-in-1 board. I've also replaced all the controls with ones of better quality. While one-up controls are okay, except for the spinner, which is crap. And it'll satisfy the casual arcade gamer. Serious gamers will want to replace them, he goes on. Here you can see the inside of the cabinet. I've replaced everything except the LCD screen. The LCD controller PCB can be seen in the upper left, and the JAMA board itself in the lower left. These systems are quite a lot of fun to mod. Anyway, enjoying your show and looking forward to new videos, Kevin Roberts. So, you know what? That is fun, honestly. Like, I would enjoy tinkering with those cabinets and doing those kind of mods, so I totally get that. I know that there's, like, a lot of YouTube videos of people doing these kind of... Even, like, Boogie... You guys know Boogie, right? He's got like a whole like arcade in his kitchen or something, and it's all arcade one-ups. So I know that people are liking these cabinets, right? But I'm too far down this road to ever consider this road. But I totally get it though. Like I get why what the appeal is, because for one, they're fairly inexpensive, you know, and they work. But again, you know, they're LCD and the controls are questionable and the size of them and the materials. But if you just kind of want to have that arcade feel, I totally get it. You know, like when Xbox Live Arcade came out on the Xbox 360, and they had like Scrabble and what other games were there? I know that Scrabble was the big one that I played. I used to stand in front of the TV. I know I've probably told this story before, but I used to stand in front of the TV with a bar stool with a fighting stick on top of it, and I would sit there and play Scrabble like I was in the arcade. So I totally get it, okay? I absolutely get it. So anyway, we'll be talking about the one-up soon. I don't know when we'll do the video. We have to get this stuff working first, but I'm actually curious now to see what it's all about when we put one together and try it out. Anyway, next one here is from Lance. It says, John is back. This is so great. Welcome back, man. I've started collecting machines after watching your videos. They have been piling up in the garage, but I hope to have them all fixed and moved in the house soon. So he sent a photo of his project, so why don't we go ahead and take a look. All right, so you got a lot of games in the garage there. I see an Atari Warriors, awesome classic. I loved that game back in the day. A Street Fighter, Donkey Kong, gotta have Donkey Kong. I see Silver Strike Bowling, and what else is hanging out? A Neo Geo. So awesome collection, dude. You need to line those up in your garage like an arcade. I used to have most of these games. Actually, when I started, my arcade was in the garage first, and then I brought them down here. So anyway, very cool, Lance. Thanks for sharing. All right, moving on. This is from Kyle. Hi, John. I love the videos. Thanks for all the content throughout the years. I'm new to the hobby. I'm getting ready to do my first cap kit on a Wells Gardner K7000. So my question is the Fluke 80K to 40K high voltage probe a good choice for letting the voltage out of the monitor? I think I've seen you use this in the past in a video. And then double checking that all you need to do is, with the probe, is connect the alligator clip to the frame, and I should be good to go. I know it can be dangerous doing this, so I'm doing extensive research first. Thanks, Kyle. So you don't need to use a high voltage probe with the Wells Gardner K7000. You want to use that with like the black and white vector monitors and maybe even the 6100. So when I discharge a Wells Gardner K7000, and I seem to do those a lot, especially at the hangar, I just use a screwdriver. You know, I have a really big, massive screwdriver with a wire, you know, on it, and then an alligator clip on the other end, and I basically just put the alligator clip on the frame, and then I put one hand in my pocket, and then I discharge it, you know, underneath the anode suction cup thingy, and that's it. You know, that's all you really need to do. But I'm going to say this, do some research, make sure you make the tool correctly. You know, this stuff's all pretty well documented. You know, I would just type in, you know, monitor discharge tool and start reading up on it. You know, I've certainly shown it in my videos throughout the years. But yeah, if you're not careful, you can get bit by that monitor, and you have to be super careful. And I'm not kidding. Put one hand in your pocket and the other one, use it to discharge. You don't want to be grabbing onto anything. You know, I got shocked really bad one time discharging a monitor, and it knocked the freaking wind out of me. It was serious. I was discharging my Moon Patrol right there, right? And the alligator clip was not clipped onto anything, okay? Don't be a John, okay? So I went to discharge it, and the alligator clip was just hanging, dangling, not connected to any kind of metal. And I went to discharge it, and I saw, because, you know, the screwdriver has a plastic handle that I wrapped with electrical tape. And as I discharged it, I saw an arc jump from the metal of the screwdriver to my hand, okay? And I'm not kidding, man. It knocked the wind out of me. Like, I didn't feel right for like a half hour. Like, I was just like, so don't mess around with it, man. If you've got like a heart condition or something, it could maybe take you out. I don't know. So I'm saying, Kyle, do your homework. Read up on this. A lot of people have talked about this on the internet. There's lots of articles. Just do it right, and in my experience, you don't need that Fluke high voltage. The Fluke high voltage probe basically bleeds the voltage gradually, because like in a vector monitor, there's like some HV diodes or something that you can destroy if you do the real sudden short to ground. And so the Fluke high voltage probe is going to have like essentially a series of resistors inside that's going to gradually bleed the voltage from it. But in my experience, you don't need to do that with any of the raster monitors, and I pretty much discharged all of those with a screwdriver and a wire and an alligator clip, and that's it. So, all right, guys, that's going to do it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and yes, we did not fix anything. But I'm totally out of time anyway, so next weekend, I guess, we'll revisit that, and I don't really have a game plan right now, so leave comments. Let's discuss. But my gut right now is I'm going to start researching on my own. This is what I tend to do when I have these problems. I start going all over the internet, typing things and reading, especially on the old news groups and stuff. So I'll start doing some research on my own and try to come up with a game plan for the next video. I don't think it's the connector. I don't know. It could be. God, what if there's a cold solder joint on that connector? I don't know. We have a lot of stuff to look at, don't we, on the next video? So be sure to check out my podcast, Video Game Outsiders, at videogameoutsiders.com. I do that podcast weekly on Tuesdays at 9 p.m. Eastern. You can listen live at videogameoutsiders.com, or go get our app. Just search for search for Video Game Outsiders on the iOS or Android store. The app is totally free. You can listen to the weekly show for free. Just search for Video Game Outsiders, iOS or Android. Install the app, press play, that's it. There's also bonus premium content on there if you want to get that, but it's totally optional. The main show is free. Just go to videogameoutsiders.com and everything's there. So, all right, guys, that's it. I'm done. I'll see you very soon. Hope you enjoyed it. Later, and bye.